Stupid mythic forest.
Not condoned alcohol by persons under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly.
It's peanut butter beer.
Ah,
I don't know
what the hell?
It could be.
I did it again. All right, I'm gonna have to just keep adjusting you guys around. You're just gonna be like the floating guests as well. It'll readjust everything. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pints Pants Podcast. I'm your host, Mick Bennett. Today's a very special episode. We have, as always, like as the only guest I really have, with Marcus and Jeremiah over there, the little people in the corner, and Jason Warden, my cousin here. It's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to talk to him about some films and things that he's done, and we'll see where it goes from there. So yeah,
downhill.
That's the intro. That's it.
It goes downhill. It already started.
Okay, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well,
I grab my wine.
I was born a poor, lonely white boy, and no.
You were a whited, so you were a white man.
Right. Well, let's see. Well, you've had me on because you've watched a film of mine. Mm-hmm. So I've been getting into film. You can tell how sneaky he was. He just walked under the table, went and grabbed his cup.
Yep.
Because he needs his bottle. So I came from theater and started getting into film. I've been doing it for about 4 years now, and just taking the slow pace for that and trying to build it into a career.
Nice.
And we're pretty much on target for how I've wanted things to go. So it's not something you can rush, because if you try to do that, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm meeting the right people and having fun while I do it, and hopefully get paid along the way.
Nice.
That's always nice to get paid.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, like, what besides like the Dead Faith, which we did the review on,
Right.
What other things have you been working on?
Well, I do have a couple other films on Amazon to check out. One is an 11-minute short, which was actually just intended as a workshop. It's called Training Grounds. That's also from Pale Horse Films. And we won Best Independent Film from the LA Film Awards with that. And we were also an official selection for Seattle Transmedia Independent Film Festival. Anyway, that's available on Amazon. It's hard to describe. Really hard. So you see my character.
The film is hard to describe.
It is.
Okay.
It's hard to describe without giving anything away. It's really tricky.
It's only 11 minutes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
you can give us like a 10-second synopsis.
Right. So I'm like I'm a detective who doesn't really know where he's at or why he's there, but he's outside and he sits down on this park bench. He sits down next to this mysterious red-headed woman, and it's him recounting what had previously happened to him and why he's there. He has a mission to fulfill, which he needs to be reminded of, but he has to come up with it on his own. And that's really all I can say about that, I think, without revealing much.
Okay.
Saying the whole thing.
Yeah. So here's a good question then. So we've all seen Dead Faith there, and clearly liked your performance a lot, especially with the persona that you were coming across with it. So how do you go about establishing a character? Like what do you go through to do that?
The process is a little different every time, but obviously beyond just going through a script and learning what the writer has written for that character and how they're perceiving it. Costuming comes into play for that. Now, with something like Dead Faith, I actually had a little difficulty with how I wanted to portray John Mills. Originally, just reading the script, I was coming off more as like a hippie commune, like love and peace, man. That kind of trying to build on a character from that, but it really wasn't working for me. It's one of those rare times that I had to turn to music.
Okay.
And what I did was I was listening to some Johnny Cash, and he did a song called "God's Gonna Cut You Down."
Oh yeah.
And just from the opening of that, I got John's Walk, because that sound is that.
Yep.
So that was the pace, and I'm like, oh, this guy's very slow. It also in his slow meaning deliberate in his delivery, and even though he's slow in that manner, everything means something. Which reminded me of the movie Goodfellas and Paul Sorvino playing Paulie. Paulie moved at his own pace, and so very, very similar approach in that aspect. But I built from that with that song, and then my director, who also wrote the film, we were talking about costumes, and he had sent me a link, and he said, look up this picture of this killer, Ed Gein. And so I looked at this photo, and he's an older guy, but his shirt was buttoned all the way up to the top, and it was kind of a outdoorsy feel. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then I'm like, I need to do something different with my hair. And I actually got out a photo of Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent. And I'm like, I'm thinking something, the swoop like that, but greasy.
Yeah.
It was very greasy.
You look way less greasy today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just got off work.
Which grease was in the air. So
So yeah, I combined that look. Those glasses I actually used in a theater performance that I did for when I played Teddy Roosevelt, and I hung on to those. I'm like, I'm going to use these, and as soon as I put those on with the hair and the costuming that I chose, it made a lot of sense. The facial tics I actually used from there. There's a person that I know somewhat well who has the blinking facial tics. And I'm like, I want to incorporate that into it. And the mouth tick kind of came along with it. That's when I learned that all that sort of started to take on a Sling Blade feel.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't want to try to give a Billy Bob performance. So I have had a couple people keep telling me, like, oh, you were doing that speech, and I kept waiting for it to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was good. I actually like that. I'm like, well, cool. It reminds you of an award-winning film. So
Yeah.
Like,
I really enjoyed that character. I told Mick that I almost showed up in costume. And see
just for you, Marcus.
Just for you, Marcus.
Yeah. Oh, you creep me out, man. I mean, I think that's a testament to your performance. I was a little bit leery about meeting you or talking with Mick about watching the movie. It's like, is this your cousin at all, or is he a good actor? Because he kind of creeps me out. So, which is a compliment, really.
It is, and I appreciate that a lot. That's definitely how I approach all my characters. I want it to be somebody completely different, and I like costumes. So I do a lot of character roles. If I am doing something that needs me to back off of that as far as a character goes, then I just try to find other ways to differentiate myself from it, so that maybe it's more me amped up by 10 or something.
Yeah. I have a question for you. So it sounds like with Dead Faith, you were given lots of liberties as far as your being able to come up with your interpretation of the character.
Yes. I mean, I pretty much created the look for it. and the way John talks. The words, I didn't do a lot of improv or anything like that. I pretty much adhered to the way it was written. But
Is that
it definitely, it changed it up a little bit as far as like where I decide to take pauses and that sort of thing.
Yeah, is that common in other work that you've done where it's pretty common for the director, whoever it is that's the brains behind the operation, to kind of allow you certain liberties so that you can kind of embody the character in your own way?
Yeah, and that's different for every scenario. With who I work with now, we approach a script as a guide, and not that we want everybody paraphrasing everything. We don't want context change, but now that we know people like we know them, we do try to write toward them.
Yeah.
So that it's not too far out of their zone.
Yeah,
that's been a process.
I could see where it could be beneficial to have the person portraying the character to feel comfortable in their shoes, right?
Yes.
And they might need to incorporate some of themselves into that character to find that comfort zone. Like I could see that almost as a director being this line that you kind of have to walk, right? Your vision versus the altered vision, because you have these individuals portraying it for you, right? So it's like you have to kind of balance that out. That's cool that they gave you so many liberties with it, though.
Oh yeah, and that's our Pale Horse Films group. We really tried to. Most of us came from like a community theater and that sort of thing, and that's really a family atmosphere, and that's what we tried to create within our own film group. Because a lot of times you show up, it's very, it's professional for everything, but sometimes it's pretty strict, and you got to show up, say what needs to be said, go home. For us, it's show up, do what we've discussed, and we might do a take or two, and then just kind of move on from there. And if we need to tweak something as we go, we will. But it's much more a family and everybody contributing and creating that way.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. How so because you have a day job also, right, that you're doing?
Yes.
Just kind of out of curiosity, how long did it take to make a film like Dead Face?
Oh gosh.
I'm assuming that everybody else involved probably has day jobs too, right? And you guys this is like a
right.
Yeah.
That took a while.
It did, but well, there's always X factors and just your regular factors of the time of year you're doing it, because we actually started. Well, we did it in winter, and then it went into the spring, and so some of the stuff that you're seeing, we are sweating our behinds off because we still have to be in our coats and our flannels and everything we started with. But I forget how many months it actually was, because we did have a little bit of a break. Holidays are there, and everybody's got to do their thing, and but we only met once a week. We met on Sundays, and at least 4 hours in the day. We shot, so it was a good, November, December, January, February, 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
I think we spent on that.
So you're not doing the typical film schedule then, where you just cram everybody who's there, like so the scenes that have you in it, they're going to be all just one day. Then the scenes that have other people in it be the next day.
Right. Well, some of that's going to be determined by what your location is. So for where we filmed, that was a cabin that we had to rent, and that just happened to fall into our lap.
Airbnb? No.
Yep.
Timing is definitely everything.
Having that conversation.
Somebody from that area came down, and they had just bought this. The property actually has another really big, nice house, and there's a couple other small little cabin treehouse type buildings. So they had just gotten settled in there, and then they were working on the cabin and the other buildings in order to rent them out for people to come spend a weekend or whatever. And my other producer just happened to find that and contacted the person and said, hey, could we rent this and shoot a film in here? And he's like, sure. Now he's not so much open to the idea, only because it's there for financial gain.
Yeah. Not because he watched the film.
Right.
Yeah.
No. He's seen the film. He likes it. He is renting that out for people to come stay, and that was kind of a one-time thing. Mm-hmm. We just really looked into that location because it's a beautiful spot.
Yeah,
it was.
I really liked it.
Maybe maybe they can get some sort of like little plaque on the door or something that'll be like "Dead Faith was filmed here" or whatever, right? Little commemorative in the cabin.
QR code.
If there's a little more success, I wouldn't be surprised if you did.
Yeah.
Be cool. So what's the new thing you're working on right now?
So, well, actually, I'll tell you what else is on Amazon right now.
Right. Yeah. Start with that.
So, as well as Dead Faith, we started talking about Training Grounds, and that's available on there.
You need to watch it. It's good.
It's 11 minutes.
I want more.
Good, yes. Actually, I've had several people say they want more. So
it just leaves it on such a note. You're like, come on.
That's on purpose. The other film that I have on there, something I did a couple summers ago with a different group, is called Till Death Do Us Part. It's a dark comedy. My character, Vinny, is married to a woman who is a serial killer. And it's about me trying to cope or reconcile living with a serial killer. And she, the police are snooping around and she has to take off. She wants to go hide out. And so I'm home alone and, popping in Sense and Sensibility into the VCR, having a smoke in the recliner. And the police show up at the house and want to ask some questions.
So, I got to ask, though, if you have one more of these shows like this, would you say you're typecast?
Well, they weren't. These were done at different times, so Training Grounds won't fall into that category. But if once you see Till Death Do Us Part, you'll know that the type of character though is totally different than the John Mills type.
No, I was just referring. Yeah. I was just referring to the cops interviewing you.
Yeah.
Well, in Training Grounds, I am a cop, so
they all connect at some point.
Yeah.
Right. It's the part of the multiverse.
Yeah. No, the one that I would really like to see,
next one, they're gonna get the special effects going. He needs to be questioning himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
could have a camera effect, I think.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Mirrors, man.
Be the evil twin. All I need is a mustache.
So the thing that I remember, like one of your first films you ever did, though, was it was a rendition of Star Trek.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if you still have a copy of that or not.
We're not going to talk about that.
I think Levi still has a copy of it. It was really funny.
Exactly. Well,
that was kind of like your starting.
Well,
right?
It had nothing. That has nothing to do with my film career.
No, but like that's kind of
that
like
was
your own.
Some friends and I were hanging out, and just as something to do, I'm like, hey, let's make a movie, and.
Probably part of your film career then.
Yeah.
Look what Kevin Smith did. I mean, he did that.
Yeah.
Look where he's at.
And I had no idea what I wanted the movie to be about, but my friend at the time was hardcore into Star Trek, and he had a vast collection of things, and I said, well, you've got all this stuff, let's just make it a Star Trek film. And I had all these jokes already written out, and I'm like, okay, how can we incorporate this into a Trek film? I played a British captain who was just bumbling, like how in the heck did with somebody like this get command of a starship? And my friend was a commander on there, and we made up some kind of lizard type person for him, and
the one was a Klingon.
Oh yeah, we had a Klingon, which he actually had a problem clinging on to things.
It was pretty funny.
And we had Gordy LaFork We had welded a couple of forks together for a visor, and he had a fork for a hand.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
And
The
they
more
would get stuck.
This is awesome.
yeah, the more you talk about this, the more the impact I think it had on your film career.
And we actually made 2 of those films.
Right.
See,
Wow.
look at this. It's totally impacted your film career.
We,
I'm sorry, but as soon as you said he made the bumbling captain, I went immediately to the oh
And there it goes.
yeah,
Who was it? What?
the guy that made King of the Hill.
Mike Judge.
Yeah, his Beavis and Butthead, their Star Trek rendition.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that was probably still going at the time.
number
Number
1,
one.
I need you
Go
to
take
go
number
number
2.
2.
I ordered.
That joke had already been taken, so we didn't use that one. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, in the second film, I actually played my evil twin brother.
That was one thing you guys did. I think it was the first one. I think the first one you had 2 of the same people, and then you made them disappear really fast. And that was actually a really good cut. I remember for
Right,
oh,
yeah,
that
it was.
actually awesome.
For what we were using, it worked out perfectly. We actually there were twins that we used as the main bad guy. He had to go back in time to like 1997 and get these like ground up oyster shells that no longer exist in the current time, and mix it with the this particular ore that the starship was carrying, in order for him to split into 2 and eventually create an army to take over the universe. And so that's how we utilized the twins.
Please tell me it was,
Great concept.
it was a prismatic joke in there somewhere.
Honestly, I can't remember.
Oh.
It's been quite a while ago. Well, about 1995 or somewhere around there.
Something like that. Yeah. That was a while
Was
ago.
was that an original plot twist, or did you find out that they had a twin like halfway through filming and was like, wait a minute, gotta use this?
No, we knew that ahead of time.
It helps for schedule. Like, I can't make it, but here, you go ahead. Jump in.
Yeah,
Right. But yeah,
you
we
only
had the
get paid
twins
half
there.
as much.
And then in the second one, I play my evil twin brother, and it was just a lot of fun. We wanted to have something. It's like, I want to be able to remember some of these things as I get older, or people move away or whatever. And now we have that, so we can look back on that and just some home video stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of fun. Definitely learned. It's hard to, when it's just friends getting together. Sometimes that can be hard getting people. Like,
Yeah.
you want me to stay how long for a day? And you're lucky to get everybody there on one day.
Yeah.
And so it can be hard to go, okay, we need 2 weekends out of you guys, and like, I'm out of here.
It's like setting up a D&D game. I mean,
Yeah, right. I'd say the only home video thing I ever made was when I was like 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10. We set up the G.I. Joes, made a fort in a giant mud puddle that was probably like 20 feet across, and made this whole G.I. Joe fort and everything else, and then got the 22s out and started shooting across it, and then blew up the fort and everything else.
Nice.
voiceovers. Incoming.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Not really voiceovers. It was all live film.
Kids
it was
screaming out in the background.
There's no voiceover. It's
Nice.
As it was being filmed.
Awesome.
Like, hold on a second. All right, ready? Here it comes. Ah! All right, now we gotta give me the shotgun. Boom! Ah, it blew up.
Nice.
Speaking of voiceovers, though, because in our review we constantly praised you for just your voice in general. Have you ever done any like voiceover work? Have you thought about doing that?
I have thought about it. Now I know where to come if I need to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Because he's definitely got the equipment for
Yeah.
it. I don't have a lot of the equipment at home for that. So that's actually kept me from submitting to a few things, but
Yeah, if you ever need to, and
definitely
that's
game
fine.
for that sort of thing. Yeah,
Just make a.
Well, and you did radio for a while too, didn't you?
I did. I worked in radio for a couple years. So
Nice. I was gonna say you got a face for radio.
Aw. I think this is where I start.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Careful. You thought Momo was bad. John Mills is gonna come at you.
I might just have to come through this microphone.
See, there's the face. There it is.
Yeah, like I said, you talk about the D&D game. You know, like I do a ton of different voices, and I can get pretty good range with a lot of different inflections and stuff. But I was doing the D&D thing, and it's like I'm trying to think on the spot. And I don't do improv well anyway, and that's all D&D is improv. So it's like Scottish accent.
Yep.
Everybody gets a Scottish accent because I'm trying to go to something else, and it's like I might start out with a different accent, but as soon as I'm trying to think of what they're going to say and how they're going to respond and what's going on and how I'm going to say this, it's like, nope. I need to have those pre-written lines. I have to have them.
Everyone sounds the same in this town.
Exactly.
It's the whole village. They sound like a. Give me the haggis.
Pretty much.
What is this haggis?
Is
Sean
that
Connery being a Spaniard.
is there? Let's say if your dreams could come true in in like the film industry, is there an actor that, or like a director or somebody that you really idolize or would just love the opportunity to work with?
Yeah, as when it comes to a director, I like Martin Scorsese a lot. I'm big into mob films. That's a type of film I want to do too. I want to do a mafia film. I want to do a western. I want to do some sci-fi too. And I do like David Lynch. But I'm really I'm more about who I want to work with as an with other actors. I'm like, hey, do you want to work with this director? And I'm going to go, sure. So
yeah.
So yeah, Scorsese and Lynch are kind of the top. I do like some Quentin Tarantino. So, yeah, but I'm pretty much open in that aspect. Some of the actors I'd like to work with. I'd like to work with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I like him. I like Eva Green. And
Jennifer Carpenter.
Jennifer Carpenter from
Dexter's wife.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
sister in the show, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, used to be his wife.
Oh yeah, they're not together now.
Yeah. She's cool.
Yeah.
Are you just picking hot chicks now?
No.
All the hot chicks.
All of them from every movie.
I have a film planned for
Charlize
all the hot
Theron,
chicks. Yeah.
But I like Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer. I like Val Kilmer a lot.
I think both of those would be great people just as people to work with too.
Nice. So you must be a fan of Heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I don't know I don't even know if I still own it or not. That was one of those. It was on VHS, and I don't know that it made it over to the DVD. Switch over.
Yeah. That had to have just like made your day, though, right? It was like you got them.
Oh, yeah.
You got them both in the same movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, definitely that's a good small group to get out there. But there are so many people that I would love to work with out there that
You would kill to work with.
well, I wouldn't kill
Literally
all of
kill
them.
to work.
So as much as you'd like to play the mobster and like do those kind of dream roles, it's still got to be fun to kind of like push your own personal boundaries and do something that maybe isn't what you would jump at initially.
Oh, absolutely. I do try to think outside the box more, but it's really up to what's available to audition for and what. Sometimes it's the director who's also written the script who is also doing the casting. Sometimes there's a separate casting agent. So you have different variables in there, and it really depends on what they're wanting.
Oh.
Now with our own group, I definitely have that leeway because I'm an executive producer as well as an actor, so that part's open. Coming from community theater, I have gotten to play a lot of roles I wouldn't have gotten the chance to play in other places where they probably had a bigger pool of people to draw from, and maybe they didn't want to think outside the box in some of these characters. I got to do a performance of the Rocky Horror Show where I played Eddie. Most everybody that's seen that, Meatloaf played that, and look at me and go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. and I loved it. I had a great time, and I'd do it again. But one of the other people who was a fellow director at that particular group, she goes, it was great. She goes, you were awesome. I loved you. She goes, but I probably would have cast you as riffraff. But only because that's how she thinks outside the box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it would have given me another opportunity to grow that way. So I definitely appreciate opportunities like that. So when it does come to me, I try to take advantage of it.
Okay, so if you're into the mob films, you're into that's what you like to do, what would be your ideal role in that film?
Ooh. Right now, I just want to really do one bad enough that I really don't care who I am in it, but I definitely want to be part of. If we're doing Goodfellas, I don't want to be Maury, the wig guy. So keeping age range in there too. It just depends on what they're going for. I want. I definitely want to be part of the family, but so I can see myself in several of the roles. So like in the Sopranos, I could definitely see myself in the Tony Soprano slot, but I could also see myself playing the Silvio type role. So
I could definitely see you in you're the second in command, jealous because you don't ever get to really shine role. I could really see you in that.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
I was also thinking like Pesci from like when because he's Goodfellas, right? He plays the crazy guy. Yeah, you could be the crazy guy.
I'm here to amuse you. Is the way I talk? Is that it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there you go.
Like the guy that isn't necessarily the spotlight of the whole movie, but he steals the scenes in really key points. You know what I mean? Like I could see you like really nailing some. Not that you couldn't handle the title one, but I could see that being a lot of fun to have those scenes where even though you're not the main guy, you get to steal the show for those few minutes in the film, right?
Absolutely, and I love roles like that, especially when you have something where it really is an ensemble cast and everybody's on that top level. And you can draw from everybody.
That's the only way that you could do a family film or a mob family film.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
Yeah,
you could have just one or two standouts and have it be good. It'd have to be everybody.
So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because it's really there is nobody that's gonna be the one that carries the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Nobody's gonna dominate the screen like that. I mean, even in look at any of them, none of them do.
Yeah. Supporting cast is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're called supporting for a reason, right?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So I have an idea for future film, maybe. What if you do like a 50s kind of noir detective film where you get to narrate the stuff yourself, right? Like he just gets to do the over-top cheesy narrations, but with your badass voice.
Right, and that actually. So earlier,
Mick, Rorschach. There you go.
You're confused. You're stuck in here with me.
Yeah.
So he actually brought up the film Olympia and Obscura earlier, and that's actually exactly what you're talking about.
Which is modern time.
But it was modern time. It was a paranormal crime noir. I was an Olympia detective who got hired by a transvestite to find her missing nephew, and there's also a serial killer on the loose. So that was one of those dark, brooding, lots of voiceover, and the voice really was about like this.
Okay, I gotta check this one out.
Yeah,
it's all on YouTube.
It should be on YouTube. It's called Olympia in Obscura. I do know that recently, I don't know if it got taken down by accident or what. Anybody like director, producer, people, they've all been in touch with each other, and nobody on the team took it down. So I'm not sure if it's back up or not, but should at least be a trailer for it on there.
So they might have
Yeah, no, I'd
flagged
like
it for
to check it out.
something.
So was there a piece of music in there that could possibly carry a license? Because YouTube doesn't check whether you have that license or not; they'll just pull it.
No, the music in there was either a royalty-free thing or it was original.
Okay.
Was there a boob?
What?
Was there a boob shown or something?
Say
No.
yes.
I didn't think so.
At least two
So-
boobs.
Well, there was. I don't know if it would you
They
consider
were
it
both actors and they're bad.
Yeah.
Well, there was partial nudity. There was a butt,
Yeah, but you see that all
Okay,
the time.
dude butt or girl butt? I mean,
dude butt,
I don't
Yeah,
discriminate,
and it wasn't mine.
but
Thank God.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Marcus.
damn it, I was gonna race out and watch it too. Watch and then I just can't wait to meet your real butt in person. See how good of an actor you are.
Man, these lines are just great.
I wasn't gonna do this on streaming, but oh well.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Trying to pull us now, YouTube.
How much beer have you had so far?
Yeah,
I don't know.
not enough. Have another bottle of wine. We'll correct it.
Better break out the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, is it weird to listen to a review of something that you've been in? Like when we did our show and you listened to that?
No, not at all. I listened to the whole thing, and I mean, everybody's gonna have their take on what it was or how it went or whatever about it, and I like to hear all of it and take in all of it. I still I look at the reviews and. Is that what that was? We had some glass rattling in the background.
It's getting to me.
I remember there was a review from a lady that the title of it, she gave us 1 star and it said "Not for Christians," and it's like this movie says there are no lessons from the Bible and something else. I can't remember what it was, and I wanted to comment. I didn't, but I wanted to comment back to her and say, "Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely right. This film has nothing to do with that." And because that film for Dead Faith, religion and faith and all that stuff was just the vehicle for the film.
Right.
It wasn't.
It was kind of a double thing because
it-
her name was Faith and like.
Right. Because it wasn't about that, and it wasn't about zombies. And I played it as a love story.
Yeah, well, and it was kind of like I could see after watching it, it's almost like a love story between like John and his lady friend, and
Faith.
also between him and Faith, but also between him and his faith, right?
Right.
Where it's like
Right.
he's really struggling with the balance between all those, which I think you portrayed really well in the film. I mean, I think a 1 star is pretty absurd. That's pretty brutal. All right.
Yeah.
I would. That seemed kind of harsh.
Well, we're still at a 4-star rating, and I figure by the time we get more views, it'll probably even out to a 3.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, we're getting views, and eventually, if we get enough views, we'll start getting paid. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Well,
That'd be awesome.
I would almost think that in a movie like Dead Faith, where you're dealing with some kind of extreme subject matter in there, no matter how much of that is brought to the forefront, you're going to have people that are going to have reviews and opinions that are as extreme, right? Like you're going to be either way up here or way down here. And somebody that is looking for some sort of a spiritual or religious guidance from this film isn't really watching it for the right reasons, I don't think.
right.
I mean, from the title you wouldn't know, but like, you read the description.
Yes.
Like Dead Faith, that has to be.
Oh yeah, the instant I realized it was a zombie film, it was awesome because I had no idea. I didn't read a synopsis, I didn't read anything, and I had assumed it would be more like religiously heavy, and I wasn't sure what was going to go on. And then all of a sudden, it clicked for me. The dead part is zombies. Okay, I'm on board with this. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, and we definitely didn't want to play up the zombie stuff too much because we never say zombie, we say infected. And two, because of the timing of it, when it takes place, this is after the hordes have been through, and they are just coming through and kind of cleaning up the last remaining few in the county and getting people into quarantine and still trying to survive and seeing if they can rebuild from there. So it's really at the end of the story.
Yeah.
We have had people ask if the ones who've really enjoyed it want more. I don't know if we tried to build on it at all, it would have to be prequel, and you probably, if you saw John Mills at all, he'd be a very minimal character.
Yeah.
It would be a almost completely new cast. I don't even know if you'd see the sheriff or not.
Yeah.
But that idea is there, but I don't know if we'll revisit it.
Yeah, it really, I think I mentioned in a review, but it really had like a webisode kind of feel to it to me, where it was like if you were into a TV series or something and you wanted to get to know some kind of some characters that are also in that world, but we didn't really get exposed to what's going on the other side of the fence. You got this kind of brief experience with that, right? While there's all this other stuff going on also. It was like this little chapter in it, which I enjoyed that part of it. I thought that was pretty cool. It really had that feel to it.
Yeah, that's nice. And I appreciate webisodes, especially when it's something I'm really into. Like I love the reboot of Battlestar Galactica.
I was just gonna say, Battlestar did that between the seasons.
Right, and when you can go back and watch those, and then the supplemental films.
Right.
But also the webisodes you went online and watched.
Yep.
The however 15-minute, 20-minute maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Some were 10, I think.
Yeah.
It was really cool to get that supplemental information.
They invest you more into the characters. And like, oh, that's why this person's just an ass all the time. Just that's.
And actually,
what a compliment though to have people. Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what a compliment to have people that are coming to you guys that are clamoring for more, right? I mean, it's like,
oh yeah,
that's a pretty cool thing. And I almost think in something like that, it's almost like it feels so good to like leave on that note. I could see it being tempting to almost not do more just because you're already leaving people pining for it, right?
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because sequels or even prequels aren't always the best. And
Episode 1.
And
you can attest to that.
Yeah.
So it's it's just one of those things that. Oh gosh, I'm getting overwhelmed with all these thoughts now, but. And I'm losing my train of thought.
Prequels. And sequels.
I've got it interfering with the current project we're doing, which is a series.
Right.
And so I've really had to change my mode of thinking, because we've been doing episodes.
Right.
Which are being poured into parts.
So each episode's gonna be a different part.
Yeah. So anyway, I've completely lost it.
Yeah.
I think there's something in my Kirkland signature water.
Sponsored by Costco.
Yeah.
It's got the legal amount of lead.
Yeah. Ooh. Now with 15% less.
If it was John, it'd probably be holy water.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Well, I don't know.
It would have been self-blessed though. So.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he would have done it himself. He probably baptized himself down on the lake and took a bottle with him.
Just dip it in.
That's definitely
that's in
not
the bonus
in the next
features
film.
of the DVD.
Yeah.
Deleted scenes.
So Dead Faith will be on Pornhub next week.
Yeah.
Just like everything else.
You should have put it up there just because.
Rule number 34.
Yeah.
All right.
You know that? You never know. It might just get you views. Just put it
Yeah,
up there.
When did they put necrophilia into this film?
No, they're just spiraled out.
This has nothing.
Hey, it's in every zombie love story.
Oh my god.
Hey, Fido.
Fido was hilarious, by the way.
Fido was great. It was a great movie.
I really did like Fido a lot.
Very good.
I don't think I want to watch Fido.
Oh, Fido's great. Like it's like set in the 50s where they keep zombies as like pets.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing too. Is I'm not really into zombies.
I hate zombie movies, but Fido was great.
I don't mind vampires and I don't mind werewolves most of the time. I don't want to see them in a teen drama.
Yeah.
I hate it when they sparkle and
They
come
sparkle.
from
Yeah.
forks.
I think for a lot of those things, for me, it's not so much that I have an issue with whatever the subject matter is. It's the people that are such diehard fans of it that seem to bug me more than like I don't necessarily have an issue with zombies, but people that are just blindly obsessed with zombies, I don't get it. I don't really understand it.
I think my biggest problem is media's blind catering to that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and
well,
then they
that's the big thing now, though.
oversaturation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just like, oh, this somebody likes this film. Let's just make as many as we can.
Yeah, right.
Look how long it took me to play Last of Us.
Make a buck.
See, and Last of Us wasn't a zombie, though.
But
that was different.
it was billed as a zombie movie, and it was advertised as that, or game. I mean,
Oh, see, I didn't get that at all when
and that's how it was, and that's how you tried talking me into it for the initial play. It took me months to play it the first time.
Yeah,
I mean,
Such a good game, though.
oh, dude, it was amazing, and I kicked
you play
myself up and down for not playing it
Did
right
you play
away.
it, Jay?
I mean, I played it through a couple times now.
The Last of Us?
Yeah.
I started to play The Last of Us, and I don't know what interfered with me keep playing it, but I had to step away from the game.
Oh.
I just think I had some other things going on, and I got so far out of the habit of it that I ended up just trading it in with some other
wow.
games.
Oh man.
Wow.
If you
That-
find
that-
the game,
that
you
is-
should pick it
that
up and
is
just
really
play it all the
a-
way through.
That is really a must play through.
Yeah.
Especially for,
I
like, the
can't give a
film
single
aspects
game
of it.
that's more of a must play through. That is storytelling brought to near perfection, because you can't have
Nice.
it can't be perfect, but that is storytelling brought to near perfection. And I mean, even if you don't get the game and play it again, at least get on YouTube and watch one of the super cuts that people have done, where
Right.
the cut
there you
scenes
go.
and the
That's the way to do it.
and stuff. But that's still 6.5 hours, probably of time invested into watching this.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's worth it though. Like it's so good for all
Are
the
you-
voice actors,
Nice.
everything.
Are you much of a gamer? Do you play games, or are we just like talking over your head?
no, I've
His
got
eyes
a
haven't fully glazed yet.
PS4.
Okay. Oh yeah, nice. You got the good one too.
Yeah, and I have the white one.
Oh wow.
Somebody got suckered into buying either Uncharted or Star Wars.
No, actually, my wife bought the system for me, and it was a bundle with the first Destiny game.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have Witcher 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, Mafia 3.
There you go. Somebody
There
join
you
your
go.
crew.
We'll have to hook up on some Red Dead.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been playing some Assassin's Odyssey lately. Also, I've been cracking out tough on that.
Yeah, I think I've played the main storyline, although it still wants you to go do something else now. So, but I've had to step away for film because we're getting back into the swing of things for our current film project. So after I stop this and I've got to pick up my daughter, I got to make the half-hour trip back home, and then I got to start studying lines for tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yep.
Are you excited for this new project?
Very excited.
So why don't you talk about that then? Talk about what the new project
Okay,
is.
so the new project is called Capital Murder. It is basically a crime drama series, and I play James Wolfe. He's just an everyman. He's in his apartment it's all set in Olympia, and he's a pretty boring guy. Depressed, down on his luck. He's been in an accident, so he doesn't work, and a random woman ends up knocking on his door. He opens the door. She's screaming something at him, and she gets shot in his doorway. And then he's on the run from these bad guys that are now trying to chase him down because of this woman. We've got a much bigger. This is the biggest cast we've worked with so far, and the process for this is new. Also, it's been very organic. We've been writing as we go.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
most of the time you complete your script and you're like, okay, everything's set in stone. Here's what we're going to do. This time around, we wrote the first 3 episodes and started filming. which has benefited us in many ways. I don't know if we could do it again. I don't know that we could make lightning strike twice. This time around, it's worked great for us. Locations have come open to us as we were writing, and we were like, oh, well, we can incorporate that into the script easily. And other actors have come available to us as we've gone on. We've had a couple instances where we brought somebody in, and we only needed somebody for a few hours one day. Very minimal roles. We just needed the bodies. And they did so well that we said, you know what, we want to expand your role. So we've been finding ways to intertwine the story and get everything to make sense. Right. Well, there will be a couple of flashback things, but for the most part, everything is present time. And it's really fallen into place. You know, we got the whole global corporation air about it, and some high tech stuff, and my character is pretty old school, so that's the thing. It's a mystery, but you know, he's not a cop, he's not a detective. Maybe it's a manly murder she wrote. I don't know.
Because that's a thing.
Hey, gotta start somewhere.
I love it. You should put that like on the poster for sure. A manly murder she wrote.
Wasn't that Matlock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Matlock.
So it would be like, is it more like almost like a crime drama then?
Yeah, it's more like a crime drama, because it's. Yeah, so that girl that dies in his doorway, you know, he's now framed for this murder.
Right.
So the police are looking for him, so he's got to hide out.
You can get all this from the trailer too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not giving anything away. So yeah, the trailer's out there. Find us on Facebook. Look up Capital Murder. Look up Pale Horse Films and Dead Faith and all the good stuff.
I know. When our review, I said Pale Horse Productions. I'm like, it's wrong.
Like, I'm correcting him when I get on that show.
Exactly. It's Pale Horse Films.
Do it. Correct him. It's our favorite part.
And when is that one looking to be out? Since it's episodic though.
Right. I'm going to guess that probably in the fall.
In the fall.
Mm-hmm. We only have a few episodes left to film, and the ending is still a little open for us because we're in the process. So, like I said, things have come open to us as we've gone along, and you know, we've shot it here in at a restaurant here in Raymond. We've shot at a wine bar in Aberdeen. A lot of our sets are Olympia based. And we've had some other locations come open to us that we just couldn't use, but we are keeping them in mind for future things, which are some restaurant locations.
Anything crazy people is from Aberdeen.
Right. Right. You know, things like cars. We got somebody that's a friend of somebody else that worked in the film. Let us use their truck. We have something coming up where we get to use a Ferrari. Nice. All these little things that add to the production quality to make it look like we have all these millions of dollars when really we're operating on a zero budget all the time.
Yeah.
It's out of pocket. And so we, you know, a lot of things we're, you know, like in here, we're in green screen, and that's what
we're sitting behind this nice window here.
Right, yes.
I thought you guys were in the cabin from Dead Faith. Is that
right?
That's not where you guys are doing this from?
On location.
Suddenly, I want to.
It really sounds like everything you're saying about everything that you're doing. You definitely say it with a bunch of positive energy. It sounds like you're with a good group of people and you're having a lot of fun doing what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier that, you know, I'm at this point in my career, I really feel like I've been meeting the right people, and everybody's been really positive. They want to make a good quality production, and we're wanting to work with people who know more than us, so that we can grow, and we also want to work with people who don't know as much, so they can grow too, and just really create a good community of people, whether it be actors, writers, camera people. I mean, just anybody that has anything to do with it. So definitely family atmosphere.
Nice.
And I remember like when I first started doing my podcast stuff, I remember I heard it on somebody else's, but they always said that even if you get 10,000 dislikes, as long as you're having fun, that's good.
Yeah.
No matter. Oh no, it wasn't that. It was Dave Grohl actually talking about music. He did a big interview and he said, no matter what anybody thinks of it, as long as you think it's good and you had fun doing it, it was awesome. And that's that's something I always thought about. Like even if like the lady, oh, this isn't a Christian film. Well,
right.
So what?
She's right.
She's right. Yeah, you're right. But sorry you disliked it, but I had fun making this.
Right.
I bet she would have given it 4 stars if it would have been a rating for not a Christian film. It's a 4-star non-Christian film.
Right.
Not another Christian film.
Yeah.
People attack Kevin Smith over his dogma about it being a serious Christian movie.
Oh.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool that you have a it doesn't sound like when you guys are working on set and everything that there's a bunch of egos to have to work around, right? Which is pretty cool.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, we have a great time, and we get work done. Because I don't like to mess around a lot. I definitely want to show up and.
It's only because I know you.
What? This isn't the real me. So, but I want to show up, and when it's time to start working, I want to make sure we do that and we get things done, and then in between, then we goof off.
Right.
But there's time for that when you break for lunch and whatever else. So, but yeah, definitely we got, like I said, we've really got the right people involved, and just have a great time doing it, and the family only grows. We've had several people reach out, and there's people that we want to work with. We just haven't been able to incorporate them into the productions yet.
Yeah.
So
Me.
and we're
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I need a dead body. Can you play dead?
Hey man, if you need
Hey,
an extra dead body, I will cuddle up next to Mick, and we can be a couple of dead dudes. It'll be awesome. A couple of dead dudes couple. It'll be awesome.
Can you meet me
I
at 3
can't.
a.m.?
I
Can
can't
you meet
do
me
dead
at 3
body thing.
a.m. in the alley in Olympia?
You're the middle
Yeah.
of the sandwich tray.
I can't do the dead body thing. I twitch too much.
Maybe you're just recently dead.
Yeah.
He's only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Bring out your dad.
Ding. I'm not dead yet.
Okay. How many different movies did we just reference? In
I
about
don't know.
5 seconds.
Yeah. Right. Watch out.
So many.
YouTube's gonna pull it, man.
Uh-oh.
A cumulative 30
Yeah.
seconds. Do it. Take it down.
Oh man.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on and talking about all this again. Let's talk about it again, like what it is. It's Pale Horse Productions, or
Pale Horse?
Pale Horse Films. I did it again. I did that. What did I do that with before? Remember, Marcus? I kept saying it wrong.
Sausage Party.
Yep, that's what it was.
That was it.
Because we're working on Sausage Quest, and I kept saying, check out Sausage Party.
Attending.
No.
Not-
It's a fine film by Seth Rogen.
So I do have one question. When you guys do these podcasts and via
This is Skype, yeah?
Skype,
Mm-hmm.
Does he always not wear pants?
Yeah, I assume that he's never wearing pants.
Of course. Why would I ever?
No, yeah.
Well, you notice he always has one hand up below the table there.
Yeah. Newsflash, that we're not wearing pants either. So just so you know, it's not weird.
So is this how you came up with the name of Sausage Quest?
Actually, no. So
Yeah.
that was it Eric that threw that out there?
No, it was
I
Marcus
threw
right
that
there.
out
Oh,
there.
Marcus
Yeah.
did it. And it was like instantly I was vetoed to, this is the name, this is the name. Like, all right.
Well, no, it's because he instantly said absolutely not.
Yeah,
And we all had to jump on it and be
this
like,
is
you know,
gonna-
this is what it's
I
going
didn't say that. I didn't say absolutely not. I was like,
Never,
oh, wow.
never
And then,
show your
this
weakness.
is it. Like, all right, well, this is what we're going with. But it's gonna be awesome.
you had an instant objection to it, which meant we all had to
Yes,
go
we
for
were-
it.
I know. It was
I
a
would have had the
slight-
same reaction.
But
It was a
we wouldn't,
slight
have
objection.
that. We wouldn't have that awesome banner if it.
I know, and which is really great.
It
It's
is.
so cool. And it was
Audie.
yeah, Audie
Norman.
Norman. Audie Norman. Yep, awesome artist.
Oh, I got confused. I didn't know if we were talking about Audis or innies.
Right.
Well, according to Nash Maggard from the Solar Mines.
Yeah. I don't even have a penis.
Fell off. Sit under the bed.
Yeah. Oh man, gotta love
Okay,
those
so we're
dungeons.
listening
You
to other
have to listen to
podcasts
that.
now too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, we gotta try to get them. Like, hey, we mentioned you. So you have to watch till the end to hear it, but we mentioned you.
That's right. Tag them in the tweets.
Oh, this
I
is
think you
this
should
is
demand that they
only an
pay
hour
you.
in.
Yeah. I know, right? This is gonna be like the shortest one I've ever done. But he has
think
to
so.
also get home. So we want to thank you again though for being here and talking about all this.
Thank you.
Have you on again.
Sure. Yeah.
It'll be fun. I mean, mainly it's me doing it now, Skyping people in. So.
Right. Okay.
You definitely didn't scare me as much getting to talk to you now as I thought you might. Which again
just wait.
is a compliment to your acting. I was really impressed with Dead Faith. You did a really good job. You don't come across as crazy religious psycho guy at all during this podcast. Really, it was good performance, man. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So again, you can check out Jason here you're at Jason Whited on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah. At Jason Whited 1.
Okay. And then the Pale Horse Films on Twitter. I believe they're just Pale Horse Films.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Check them out. Go to YouTube and look at or search whatever, you know the words. Look for the movie. Look on Amazon. Dead Faith. Go ahead and check that out. Look for their upcoming stuff, which is it just get me.
Capital Murder.
Yep, Capital Murder. Training Ground came in my head. I'm like, nope, that's not it. Training Ground's on Amazon as well, and then Till Death Do We Part just got added. I'm done, and my voice is gone. Words done. Go ahead and check
He was
everything
done a
out.
long time ago. It was just in denial.
Yeah, it's my brain's too slow. Go ahead and check everything out from them. Also, go ahead and check Nerdbuzzed. You know, Marcus over here on the other side. Jeremiah right here above Jason.
Oh, this hand.
Yep. And go ahead and give your Twitter handles so people know.
Nerdbuzz at nerdbuzz.com. I'm Bob3J. I'm at Bob3J.
I'm at Marcus Ellinger. Real crazy and inventive.
Yeah, super original.
Bonus
Total
points for anyone who
dad
probably
move.
is.
But yeah, jump on there. Give us a hard time. That's one of our favorite things to have done to us.
I know
He likes it hard. Anyway.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here, doing this with us. Check them all out. Give us a like, subscribe, everything. Awesome. I'll do my little toast thing at the end. Do you guys remember it?
Pints in your hands, pants on your butts.
Yep. Without that one. So we have to start.
Oh,
So
start
pints
over.
in our hands.
Pants on our butts,
Let's put this booze
in our guts.
in our guts.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Yay. And that's the end of it. That's how we do it.
I'll just drink
Oh, yeah.
my water.
Yeah, you drink. You can drink.
Ooh, water.
Drink your holy water.
Yeah.
It's the only
Bye, everybody.
defense against religious zombies.